Atindo tagaja ni ciarikia kwihanda wega thaa mugwanja na ni cia miaraho na ni thaa riega ria guthikiriria marathie na mbere gukorwo makiyumiria guku bururi-ini oro undu umwe na kumerorera no mbere ndaya twambe tumurike mamwe ma maria tukuhaririirie GTN at 1. Muthamaki Willem Alexander na Queen Maximina a bururi-ini wa Netherlands ni mageneire bururi wa Kenya. Muiretu wa ukuru wa miaka 24 na ena wathe wa meciria ni ahiritwo ihu ni mundurume umwe. Mundurume umwe ni oragitwo Gicugu kaunti-ini ya Kirinyaga. Na Lovan Pera ni anirire gukanyita itemi mahenya-ini ma ngari cia safari raria. Njitagwo Muriithi wa ICHURAH manimo tukuhaririirie miaraho ino. Mubunge wa Kiharu Ndindi Nyoro kwa hinda riri ni arariria andiki a mohoro itemia kurekereria ndumiriri yake na uni thutha wake guikio nja wa kamiti ya budget bunge-ini ya bururi na gukorwo akiukirirwo ni mutongoria wa ringi bunge-ini ino Kimani Ichung'wa harondo umwe na murune wa aria anini Junet Mohamed na kuria kwirikanite ati Ndindi Nyoro arakoretwo akigaira mbeca nyingi itemi ria gukinyaniria tabarira cia uthii wa na mbere gicigo-ini bunge giake gia Kiharu. Tuguthongekuo imwe kwa imwe tuko tugithikiria ni mariku Ndindi Nyoro arera a Kenya.
Various government agencies, development and every other thing, and because whatever we were doing I was also updating you regularly, I thought it was important that I call you the way I have done, so that the things we've been reading and the things we have been seeing, I can clarify a few of them and also give my voice on it. And therefore, without wanting to be diplomatic, I also know that is what you came for, because you knew if it was about politics, I would have called you somewhere else. And therefore, I'll only talk about that matter. And I also know that there are expectations of people on what we should say, when and how. I get messages every day on what I should do and how I should do it. And it is not the appropriate time today for me to talk about those other things. And I am saying it in good faith, because that is what we had planned to do. And I have only clarified because in the time I've been a politician, I know there is what you say, but there is also work to be done in terms of coverage. There is also what you may want to report. And that is given, because that is the work of a media house. So I've clarified that, so that I'll be open to a few questions afterwards. But I just highly request, I am here as a Kenyan. I speak when I want to speak. I know we have interacted in many forums. We know each other person's character in terms of where they need to invoke courage, where they need to invoke whatever they need to say. And I know for sure, I'm not shy to say anything that I feel I need to say. So whatever I may leave unsaid today is basically based on the fact that the reason I called you is the one I'll talk about. And as I start, I first of all want to be very grateful. Myself, personally, for the chance I have had
to serve the Kenyan people in the position of the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee in the National Assembly.
As you know, and you have interacted, that has been my designation. And that is work we did with a lot of dedication. And I am grateful for that opportunity. I am also very grateful to have interacted with many people as I serve as the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Of course, working with the Honorable Mary Amase, who was the vice chairperson, and all the other members, all the other 25 members, incorporating myself and the vice chair who make us 27. I am truly grateful for that chance. That chance of serving as the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee made me understand many things that I scarcely understood before. It made me know the workings of government in terms of its levels, its arms, departments and agencies of government, and how they work. And therefore, as much as it was work, it was also a profound learning experience that I am truly grateful for. I am also thankful for the fact that I had trained as an economist some many years back in KU. And when I got the chance to serve as the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, I had the first-hand learning of how macroeconomic parameters relate with each other. I was able to first-hand experience the things I was learning, and therefore it was also a continuation of a learning experience, and especially in regards to many macroeconomic factors, how inflation is affected by interest rates, how interest rates affect private enterprise, and many other economic parameters that we hear, but they are also far-reaching in terms of how we live, and they are also far-reaching in terms of what our country becomes. And by the way, out of that experience, in the year 2023, I realized I also needed to upgrade a little bit, because I singularly found that our country, yes, have many challenges, but the overarching challenge that we face as a country are economic challenges in nature. And given the chance I was serving in as the chairman of Budget Committee, I decided to also go back to school. I actually started pursuing 2 master's degrees together. One in KU, Master of Economics in Public Policy, and the other one in the University of Nairobi, that is Masters of Arts in Economics. And I've been pursuing those from 2023, attending class physically where I needed to attend physically, and those who offer online also attending class online, and by the way, as a student, not as an MP. And I decided to do that because I also wanted to deepen my knowledge in the economic platform. And the more the reason, I made it my duty to listen in terms of attendance, and also to participate in any other participatory issues that I needed to do as a student. And gratefully, I am actually done with coursework. I am now doing the projects, both of them together, and by the grace of God, I may graduate this year. I am not talking about myself when I talk about going back to school. It is basically because the motivation of pursuing those 2 actually came out of quest to know better, so that the decision I continued to make are optimal, objective, and especially based on things that then would make our country move forward, especially given the pivotal position which I was serving in. And if you look at this table around here, these 2 shelves is actually classwork. All this you see around here, these are issues around classwork. And I was doing it again, and I'm repeating, because I thought, and I still believe even now, that it is important that even as we serve in our specific capacities, that we continue to also develop ourselves, to sharpen ourselves, so that we can be making more efficient decisions as leaders. So in a nutshell, I have been very, very, I should be very grateful, and I have been very honored by the Kenyan people to have served in that capacity, and especially when our country really needed us to do what we needed to do. Just as snapshot of, so that you understand where I'm coming from. This position is very involving, and I am sure many of you have covered us before. Sometimes sleeping in this office, living here very early in the morning. Not just myself, also the members of the members we were serving with. But it was also an experience also to learn and know Kenya. There are things we used to do called public participation, where we would choose. We started with 12, we ended up with 20 counties every year, where we would allocate some retro money, actually 100 million per county, and we would then go there to ask Kenyans what they would prefer that we prioritize. The last one, I was privileged to actually travel all the way to Madeira and interact with the people of Madeira, and I am glad that I have had many of such experiences to also relate what we do on the table and how that is far-reaching and how that affects the lives of the Kenyan people. For example, there when we went, the leaders were very categorical. There was a teachers, a TTC, Teachers Training College, and a KMTC, which they told us the entire 100 million to give to those two. Because when we go all out to do those things, we specifically look at the impact of how those projects would work. And also by giving preference to what the leadership and the people themselves request us to, or were requesting us to do. Having said that, also for perspective's sake, and allow me to say it because it is how it is. At some point we got too busy, because you remember when you are here in the chairman of budget, you also have to go all out there and talk about the projects you are doing, but also on the other side, you are also doing work with CDF. You have colleagues whom you are interacting with as you work around CDF, and therefore, at some point, I also got too busy, as you could remember. Anyone launching a Masomobora in their place, I would go, and those kind of things. And what I'm trying to say is that at some point I got too busy. And my brothers and sisters, I'm telling you these things not more as a politician, but also as a human being. I got too busy at some point that for the last 2.5 years, I actually went to my rural place, our rural home. I went there for the first time in the last 2.5 years in September or October or November of last year, thereabout, in the last quarter of last year. There is the time last year I visited my sister who lives not very far from Nairobi, actually in Thika. So I went there and we were chatting, and I could read her body language. She was thinking, kwani huyu jamaa amepotea ama ni nini? Because I could hardly have gotten time before to actually also do such a thing that looks very small, but is also humane to do. So what I'm trying to say is that it has been intense, it has been busy, and I am grateful for that chance, because even in that intensity, it has also been a profound learning experience. I also want to take this opportunity to wish the current chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee and the leadership of that committee all the best. I have sat there, I know it is an intense position. It requires you to work very hard, sometimes to the neglect of your constituents. And therefore, I would only wish the current chairman all the best as he steers the committee forward. Because after all is said and done, whatever he is doing, the success you'll get is a success for all Kenyans. And therefore, there are things we say because we are politicians, but there are also things we say because we are human beings. As a human being, I wish him all the best. And I want to say that I am grateful for the chance I have had. Maybe to clarify a few things which you may have in your mind, or possibly I can give you that chance to ask them. Maybe I'll wind up by saying that I'm also very grateful. Let me reserve that for you to ask, because I am here, I will ask. I will answer. Let me also take this chance to thank the people of Kiharu constituency. Because to become the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, the prelude to that is for you to be an MP first. And I don't want to chest thump, but I'm just saying it in humility. I am among the few MPs who, in the last elections, I was elected without producing a single poster. I'm not saying that as bravado. Neither am I saying it to prove who I am. I'm saying it in humility that I'm very, very grateful to the people of Kiharu for that honor, to have served them as a member of parliament. This is my second term, and especially given that there are many landed people in our constituency, but they have given me that honor and privilege to serve as the budget and to serve as their MP, or to serve as our MP as a constituency, and that has opened or had opened the room for me to serve as the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. I also want to thank the people of Kenya. What I know is that the positions we hold, and talking about myself, I hold it with a lot of regard. And as I serve the people of Kenya, I want to be grateful because they have also been very supportive. Those who support us by saying something kind, those who correct us because we need to be corrected, and that is the forte that we must always accommodate. Those who criticize.
Kou nĩ ĩmwe kwa ĩmwe kuma wabici-inĩ cia mũmbunge wa Kiharu Ndindi Nyoro ũrĩa na hau kabere nĩ ũrarĩ mũikarĩri gĩtĩ wa kamĩtĩ ya budget kũrĩa mbunge-inĩ ya bũrũri. Ende arakorwo agĩcomorwo gĩturwa-inĩ kĩu na kĩrakorwo gĩkĩnengerwo mũmbunge ũngĩ ũrĩa nĩ wa kuma mwena wa mũng'ethanĩro thirikari wa mwena wa mũng'ethanĩro kũrĩa mbunge-inĩ ya bũrũri. Marĩa Ndindi Nyoro akorwo agĩtarĩria hau magakorwo agĩgĩtetera gwakorwo gũkĩrĩkaine atĩ nĩagĩkoretwo akĩgaĩra mbeca akorwo akĩinũkia kũrĩa mwena wa Kiharu, na nĩkĩahotete gũkinyanĩria tabarĩra nyingĩ cia ũthii wa na mbere. Tũkorwo tũkĩmaikarĩra thĩ na njĩra ĩgwete nĩgetha tũkorwo tũkĩmanya bara wega na tũkorwo tũgĩgũkundia wega wona ciarĩkia kwĩhanda wega thaa ĩmwe cia hwaĩ-inĩ oro ũndũ ũmwe na thaa ithatũ cia ũtukũ. No ĩndĩ tũkĩhũmũkĩra mohoro marĩa tũgũkũharĩrĩirie nĩ atĩ mũthamaki wa bũrũri wa Netherlands Willem Alexander nĩakinyĩtie gũkũ bũrũri-inĩ icera-inĩ rĩa kĩwĩra rĩa thikũ 4. Willem marĩ hamwe na mũtumia wake Queen Maximina na kũrĩa mahũrĩirwo rithathi 21 cia gĩtĩo thingira-inĩ wa iregi mũciĩ-inĩ mũnene wa Nairobi, kũrĩa manyitĩtwo ũgeni nĩ mũtongoria wa bũrũri ndagĩtarĩ William Ruto na mũtumia wake Rachel Ruto. Ihinda rĩu nĩ manyitĩte itemi harĩ ũhandi wa mĩtĩ thingira-inĩ wa iregi arĩ ta njĩra ya gũthaitĩra marĩa matũrigicĩirie. Tukithina mbere riboti nĩ ngeni atĩ kanitha wa ACK ndũkũhe kanya ateti kũhũra ũteti magongona-inĩ. Ũũ nĩ kũringana na mũthikabu mũnene wa kanitha wa ACK Jackson Ole Sapita akĩaria hĩndĩ ya igongona rĩa gũkunũra mũthikabu Jonathan Kabiru mũthĩ wa kiumia. Na Sapita augĩte gũtirĩ ateti mareheagwo kanya ga kwaria magongona-inĩ mothe ma ACK guothe bũrũri-inĩ. Mwerekera uyu ũroka rĩrĩ ateti bũrũri-inĩ makoretwo makĩhũthĩra kanya makanitha-inĩ kũrekereria mĩario yao ya ũtetia.
Rĩrĩ ũrugarĩ wa gĩũteti ũthiĩte na mbere na kũingĩhĩrĩra bũrũri-inĩ, ateti mahinda kwa mahinda makĩoneka kũhũthĩra kanya ka magongona ma kanitha-inĩ matiganĩte kũhũra ũteti. Rĩu mũthikabu mũnene wa kanitha wa Anglican Jackson Ole Sapita augĩte gũtirĩ ateti mareheagwo kanya ga kwaria magongona-inĩ mothe ma ACK guothe bũrũri-inĩ.
Na kanisa haitakuwa platform ama mahali ambayo malumbano ya siasa ambayo inaendelea kugawanya nchi hii itaendelea kusungusiwa.
Augite ateti makoretwo magĩtambia rũmena handũ-inĩ ha gũtungatĩra a Kenya. Ihinda-inĩ o rĩu akiuga kanitha wa ACK ndũrĩanagĩrĩra maruta ma mũndũ o wothe. Maya magĩũka rĩrĩ ateti makoretwo magayũkanĩte ũhoro wĩgimainie na maruta kanitha-inĩ.
We will mention their names, they will wave their hands. And if they so wish to speak to the congregants, it will be done outside of the sanctuary. Not only today, but in all our dioceses and in all our churches. Sisi tujaitisha harambe na hela za kanisani asitatangazwa. Ukitaka kulete ulete ikiwa vile ilivyo na iweke vile ilivyo, maana ile tunapeana kwa Mungu haina haja ya kutangazia wanadamu.
Na watete kuma kaunti ya Kirinyaga monekete kunyita mbaru ikinya rĩrĩ makiuga harĩ na bata wa ateti gũtĩa ahunjia na gwathĩka na gũthingata mĩtaratara ya kanitha handũ-inĩ ha ngucanio mathiko-inĩ.
Siku ya kuomboleza, let people mourn their departed in peace. Siku ya kanisa, let us worship in peace. Let those people ambao wamezoea kwenda kutukanana kanisa, wale ambao wamezoea kwenda kuchukua microphone kutoka kwa wachungaji, waanze kujua kwamba kanisa takatifu ni yenyewe ambayo inatupatia mwongozo katika maisha yetu, ambayo ni mwongozo ya kukua mtu mwaminifu na anaweza kuwapinga.
Maya mararũmĩrĩra ciumia nini hĩtũku thutha wa ateti kuma kaunti-inĩ ya Kirinyaga kũhiũhania ciongo na atongoria a kanitha igongona-inĩ rĩa mathiko ma gũthika ciana ithatũ iria ciakuruhanirio mũtino-inĩ wa barabara Kirinyaga kũrĩa merĩtwo matigũkorwo makĩaria ũteti. Kũrũmĩrĩra uge wa Sapita, kĩhĩrĩ kĩa atongoria a gĩũteti arĩa mararĩ kanitha-inĩ ũyũ matinaheo kanya ta mũtugo kwaria na mũingĩ. Amwe ao arĩ ni hamwe na mũtongoria wa Wiper Kalonzo Musyoka, ũrĩa warĩ mũnini wa President Rigathi Gachagua, Eugene Wamalwa, mũtongoria wa DAP Kenya, gatagatĩ ka atongoria angĩ.
Thangi mware wancaga nĩ riboti na riboti uko ituhe mweke wa twambe tuikirie ro hanini ni turahunduka na mangĩ maingĩ marĩa tukuharĩrĩirie.
Kinyanĩria kĩroto gĩaku gĩa kũgĩa na broti na Brickman Properties Limited. Igithe broti yaku ya 50 by 100 Juja Farm Athi mita 30 kuma barabara nene ya gũthiĩ shopping center na 799 peke yake. Juja Kalimoni dakika 8 kuma Thika Road ukona broti na 2.5 million. Kantafu Kangunda Road na kuona broti na 375 peke yake. Oro hau tuli na broti matu na 199 Nyeri Gatito hudeti barabara nene ya Nairobi Nyeri ukona na 1.6 million. Broti shi siri kũndũ na maethi tima ũgitĩri mwega wa borithi na ĩrĩ na ready title deeds. No tuchere wabici-inĩ citũ mwena wa Ruiru Town, nyũmba ĩtagwo Greek Towers, second floor S2 F12, kana ũhũre thimũ 0746 888 111. Pata ploti, pata title na Brickman Properties Limited. We promise, we deliver.
Chapa na tatua tatu. Kuna guaranteed 1,300 vuna cash baada ya kila nusu saa na daily vuna bonus ya 1,100 kila Jumapili. Unaweza vuna hadi $500,000 ama tuktuk ndani ya Tatua Bonanza Live na zawadi zinginezo. Vuna chapa leo na tatua tatu. Ingia kwa M-Pesa paybill number 150 account
Hota.
Amount ni shilingi 10 hadi shilingi 1,000.
Over 18s only. Gaming can be addictive. Play responsibly.
Ni twahunduka tuthie na mbere na mohoro ma GTN miaraho ya umuthi na kuria kihana kimako ni kigomeire family imwe kuma itũra-inĩ ria Mugamba ICHURAH guku ni wadi-inĩ ya Mũrinduko gĩcigo-inĩ kia ũmbunge kia Mwea kaunti-inĩ ya Kirinyaga thutha wa mwana wao wa mũirĩtu wa ũkũrũ wa mĩaka 24 na ũrĩa ũkoragwo na wathe wa kĩmeciria kũnyitwo kĩa hinya na kũhirwo ihu nĩ mũruti wĩra wa mũgũnda wao. Amemba a family no maugĩte mwĩkũĩrwo ũrĩa nĩ wa kuma kaunti-inĩ ya Bungoma akoretwo akĩruta wĩra mũciĩ-inĩ ũyũ kwa ihinda rĩa mwaka ũmwe na ndarĩ ekwĩrwo gwĩka gĩko ta gĩkĩ nginyagia ũtukũ wa ira rĩrĩa mũirĩtu ũyũ arahithũririe ndeto ici.
Nataka kusema hii maneno imefanyika hii area ya Mũrinduko Mugamba ICHURAH, imefanyika nyumbani moja ambapo tuko na huyu msichana ambaye akili yake sio sawa na amekuwa akikaa na mama yake na wazazi wake, kama tuko na babu yake hapa, tuko na anko yake, na vile kumetendeka huyu msichana alipotea jana usiku na kupotea wakamtafuta mpaka asubuhi, na asubuhi sasa ndio wameweza kupata huyu mtoto, na ile jia wamempata nayo ni mtu mwenye alikuwa ameajiriwa huko na ametoka mbali sana huko Bungoma.
Nyokiroko na mukire sister yakwa oka anjira mwana wake narorire ruba uwe ngira mukai twanja kwetha mwana ucio arorire mwana wa sister yakwa ucio arepirwe tu sister yakwa anjira mwiretu wake arorire kithaa kia thaa imwe arikia kumutuma oka kwa suwe akithikioro arora mathaa imwe kiroko kanjira mwana narorire.
Alipoamka alikuta nikimtafuta, alisema hebu niende nikamtafute. Alienda akamtoa mahali alikuwa alimweka. Monica kutoka utotoni wake hakuwa sawa, alikuwa na mental disability.
Na kiono na mama mdia nikiono na mukuwa weni mama
okire anjira wega muiritu uyu ni makoragwa nake riu gikithikura nani ndi aba nake ni okite riu tukigeria kung'ang'ana nakio ni gukiure ni rogitemirwe ni bati aba riu nani ndakorwa ni ndagikia mutego uya akirikia gukinya gikori kiuma nani kiandekia na gukunja.
Riboti yake hamuno kuma kuria kaunti-inĩ ĩrĩa ya Kirinyaga. Tukirika iharo-inĩ nĩ atĩ meharĩria ma mahenya ma ngari cia safari rally no mathiĩte na mbere na kũnyita thing'a gũkũ bũrũri-inĩ o rĩrĩ matigarĩtie thikũ igĩrĩ. Mahũro cabi nyũmba-inĩ ya mĩcemanio ya KICC mũciĩ-inĩ mũnene wa Nairobi kũrĩa mũtongoria wa bũrũri Ndagĩtarĩ William Ruto agatongoria mĩhang'o ĩno mũthĩ wa kana tarĩki 20 na thutha ũcio macokerere mwena wa Naivasha kaunti-inĩ ya Naikuru. Bendera ya bũrũri wa Kenya ĩkarirũkio nĩ Evans Kavisi ũrĩa ena mwĩhoko mũnene wa kũiyũkia ũhotani ĩndĩ arĩ na ũng'ethanĩri mũnene kuma kũrĩ Loven Pera ũrĩa nĩwe mũhotani wa mahenya ma mwaka mũhetũku wa 2024 angĩ arĩa makanyita itemi mahenya-inĩ maya nĩ Efrian Evans, mũndũ ũgwĩtwo Thiere na Uvile kana mũndũ ũgwĩtwo Tanak Takamoto Katusuta ũndũ ũmwe na Adrian Formuaxa. Na mahenya maya makambĩrĩria mũthenya wa Friday nĩo mako makĩambĩrĩria wega kũrĩa ngari cikahetũkĩra mwena wa Kamolana Lodia cioke cigere kũndũ gwĩtagwo Geothermal ũndũ ũmwe na Kedong. Mũthenya wa Saturday makorwo makigerera kundu gwitagwo Sleeping Warrior, Elementaita nacio Soisabu, naguo muthenya wa mboico niyo itagwo Climax makorwo makigerera kundu gwitagwo Osegerion orondumwe na Hell's Gate.
The car has been worked on for quite a while now. It's in tip-top condition. We rebuilt almost everything from the bottom up. We had a few gremlins to start with, but it's typical with this lifestyle. So we are used to having problems every once in a while. But yeah, we're testing the car to just make sure everything is in good nick. And we're ready for the event. So part of the process we've gone through is rebuilding the car. Let's start from the bodywork all the way down to the engine. We've rebuilt that totally from the bottom up. And we typically need to run that in for a few kilometers to just make sure that everything gels before we actually map it properly and get it out going on the track. So that bit we are actually trying to sort of conclude, because then we have the diffs and the gearbox, the transmission, so to speak, to finish up. So that's what we're working on now. Then we can see by tomorrow if we can. Yeah, I'm back to be back. I'm glad to be back to motorsport, and it's something I thoroughly enjoy, and I'd lost a little bit of that. So I'm looking forward to enjoying the stages, to just going through it and reliving a little bit of it from what I used to do back in the day when we were just starting out to now that it's extremely competitive. So I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun and finishing the event. I don't have a lot of things I'm asking for, and the rest I'm leaving up to God. Whatever he'll gift me, then I'm glad to accept.
Ati tutagaja kunde kuma kuria meno re wa Naivasha jigua magago itavasha yatigaria thiko igire nigetha tukorwo tukirika kuo tugagikionere ngari ici igititimurana mwena ucio na riboti iyo ni atuithiraniria mohoro maitu ma GTN at 1 bangiru kumamukira ciarikia kwihanda wega thaa imwe cia hwaini orodumwe na thaa 3 cia utuku koguo kiruthi na mbere ukorwo twikumathira maria mangi mathi na mbere ukorwo makiyumiria guku bururi-ini nie njitagwo Muriithi wa ICHURAH na ndaumira